Hi everybody, Lance from ThetaTraders.com here. This video we're going to go over the technical analysis, economic reports, and earnings reports for next week. It'll be August, gotta look at my map here, all right, August 18th through 22nd. And remember, I do these videos every week, so definitely like, subscribe to this channel, and I'll do these every weekend. Let's get right to it. Look at the daily candles. If you look at SPY, we are still on this bullish uptrend. We have seen a bit of neutrality here, and it might have leveled off in the bullish outlook. We did have a down day on Friday, had another down day Wednesday, and we are still very close to all-time highs. Have a bit of volume at the 642, which is very close to the current price of 643. Definitely have more volume at the 635, so that could easily hit to 635. If it does, it would very likely be below the 9 EMA in yellow. If you look at the 21 EMA, also for grabs if we get down to around 634 or so. So as the candles move, it's looking at the exponential moving average, meaning it's going to weight a little bit more in the more recent results. So since the 21 EMA is around 628, if we have some more down candles, we might be below it if we're a little above the 628. If you look at the RSI, we got very close to touching the overbought conditions at 70 on the daily, and then we saw downward slope. That might mean that the momentum on the upside might be waning a bit. MACD is pretty much curling and a little bit positive or bullish. So as of now, it's very hard to tell what's going to happen on all-time highs. When you hit an all-time high, you can easily get to newer all-time highs. However, we do have a decent amount of volume at the 635 strike. So now if we look at QQQ, QQQ is usually very similar to SPY. Had a down day Wednesday, had a down day Friday, just like SPY. Right now, currently at 577. Have a decent amount of volume, it's 579. So there is a chance that we could swing back up to the upside. Do have a decent amount of volume at 562, which would be a pretty big drop from the current price. A little bit more than SPY's next volume level. Very similar to SPY, we got very close to the overbought and the momentum faded a little bit. So now we're downward sloping to the 63. MACD looks almost identical. So QQQ could easily drop down to the 560, 570 levels. Look at the small caps though. Small caps actually had an up day on Wednesday and a pretty large one. Look at Thursday and Friday though, the momentum is fading. Similar in RSI, got near overbought on the daily, now a downward slope. MACD, though, on the other hand, has a little bit more of a bullish outlook. As you can see, the green candles are moving higher. We do have a decent amount of volume at 223 and 220. So out of all these three, I would prefer IWM. SPY is still in good shape in their all-time highs. QQQ has a little bit of downside risk. Volatility has been pretty low. So we're down to the 14 as the low on the 13th. We did get a slight bump up to around the 15 in the VIX. This is pretty low levels, lower than the average around 17. So just want to be wary of that. Prefer to do a little bit less on the option selling side, just because if you have a VIX spike, those could hurt your positions. Let's look at some economic reports. Go to the Forex Factory on the calendar. Look on the 18th. Don't have any real news for US. Housing permits, housing starts. With interest rates possibly going down soon on a possible next rate cut, it's a very high probability of it happening. Be interesting to see what happens to the mortgage rates and what happens to the housing starts. Wednesday, we do have oil and we do have FOMC meeting minutes. The minutes are not when Jerome Powell talks, but they're going to be looking at possible rate cuts either in August or in September. We have the news here. In-depth insights. As of now, I'm not thinking that there's going to be a rate cut, but there's a good chance by September. 21st, unemployment claims will typically move the market in the pre-market on Thursday. And then on Friday, usually no news, but we do have Powell speaking. So he's going to speak at Jackson Hole Economic Policy at 9 a.m. So definitely watch the market there. I would probably try to get into a trade after he finishes speaking. Next, we look at earnings. So earnings, we do have some of the blue chips. We have Home Depot, Target, Lowe's. So the home builders are kind of going with the economic reports. And we do have Walmart. So a lot of these blue chip companies, if their earnings aren't going to exceed, or if they see a little bit of a future lower outlook, that could affect the market just because the market's pretty overextended right now. And if those companies start to have lower earnings, we might have some problems in other sectors. So again, this is Lance from ThetaTraders.com. Please like, subscribe to the video. If you have any comments or questions, I'll read all of them and respond to them. So I hope you guys have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys on the next video.